Good morning and a very warm welcome back to Funchal, the capital of the island of Madeira. We are here for day 4 of the World Paraswimming European Open Championships. My name is Paul Noble, and as always, I'll be joined on commentary today by Liz Johnson. Morning, Liz.
Morning. Good to be back. Almost halfway through the programme, Paul.
Yeah, we are. This is day 4 out of the 7-day programme. We're right at the midway point now. And we have quite a short heat session this morning. Just over an hour. And these are the events that we will see. We'll start off with the 400 freestyle for the S6s. A few 100 freestyles for us to enjoy. And some backstroke events as well. And also a 200 freestyle. Well, first 3 days of competition, Liz, it's been great. We saw some great racing last night.
Yeah, we saw some really close races, but we also saw some really fast races, treated to some more records. And we've talked about it a lot, but we weren't sure, the world wasn't sure where athletes were coming into this meet. And some athletes are coming in the form of their lives. And some are using this meet as preparation for what they hope to be a big summer ahead. So there's a range of performances, but it has not disappointed.
Oh, we saw some great individual performances, as you said, and some kind of the countries last night seemed to have just batches of success. I mean, the Russians started absolutely fantastically, didn't they? They won 7 gold medals last night, and they all seemed to come in like middle part of the session last night.
Yeah, they did come in quick succession, and we've talked about this, I think, all week, in how sometimes the way the programme just falls, it just suits certain countries. And last night, the Russians definitely benefited from a good run in the programme. They won both those SB7 100-metre breaststroke events, and again, you just feel like they get the momentum, and then everyone else raises their game as well, because everybody else within the camp wants to also make sure that they're on that podium too.
Yeah, and you were keeping tally of the medal positions last night, Liz?
I was, but don't ask me, because now I've thrown it onto the bed behind me. So they're all lined up in piles. Well, I mean, I can quickly access it, I think.
It's fine. It's fine. You might have realised that Liz and I are not actually on poolside in Madeira. We are, due to the COVID restrictions, we are at home. That's why Liz doesn't bring a bed in with her to the poolside.
Sometimes I wish I did. When I was a swimmer, I definitely would have. That'd been amazing. But yeah, no.
Well, you see the camp beds sometimes, don't you? Or the physio beds, whatever, in the when the teams are training. It's all different behind the scenes now, of course, with the COVID restrictions. A lot less people around poolside. There's the officials just waving to those who are in the gallery, and they will just be the team members. So no spectators allowed on poolside here. But as the officials take their seats, the swimmers will come out for the first event. 400 freestyle for men, 2 heats of this one. I think the Italians were top of the medal table after the first 2 days. I think they've just about clung on to that position, Liz. Ukraine had a good day yesterday as well, so it's going to be close between the top 3 countries. I think Italy, Ukraine and Russia, who are coming back strongly. Kind of the 3 powerhouse nations in European swimming at the moment.
Absolutely, and I think you said the Russians had a phenomenal evening last night, but the Ukrainians weren't that far behind, but their medals were more sporadic, so it didn't sound as if we were hearing their anthem quite as often. And then the Italians finished strongly with a few. They started the night with a gold medal, and they finished with a couple as well. So 4 gold medals for the Italians last night. I still haven't found that piece of paper, but it is here, I promise. Right. Somewhere in my filing system.
Yeah. That's a final session one. Yeah,
exactly.
No medals presented. No medals presented this morning, so that's fine. We'll come back to the medals tonight. Let's move on to the racing, shall we?
Yeah, let's
got 400 freestyle men S6. We have 2 heats of this one. And the swimmers for the first heat are out. Leonardo Renic from Croatia will go in lane number 2. Leo McCree from Switzerland goes in lane number 3. We have Andrei Granichka, fresh from his win yesterday. He will go in lane number 4 for Russia. In 5 is the local favourite, Daniel Madeira. There he is, in lane number 5 for Portugal. And Igor Luchkin from Russia goes in lane number 6. There is the lineup for this first heat. 2 heats of this one. 400 freestyle S6. And Andrei Granichka winning that 200 individual medley yesterday. And he's been in impressive form. He was certainly very good over the freestyle element of that medley, in the closing stages of that medley yesterday. Very, very strong. Medalist at the World Championships, of course. And in fact, we've got, I think, all the medalists from the World Championships in 2019 going in these heats.
Yeah, we saw that again. There's a range of impairments in the S6 category. It's one of the most diverse classifications in terms of the eligible impairments. So we saw a really good reaction time from Leo McCree of Switzerland in lane 3, and then we saw Daniel Madeira in lane 5, that white cap for Portugal, turning first at the first 50 metres. He using that length, using his stroke, but expect Andrei Granichka of Russia to start to come through onto level terms as we head into the latter stages of the race. Again, all athletes playing to their strengths. And so Madeira likely to start very quickly and then excelled through the race. We saw it in a 200 metre individual medley. Granichka swam a very good heat swim. He looked really controlled. He looked really comfortable. And then he stepped it up massively for that final to produce a really good time to win the gold medal. And there we can see Granichka now just edging the lead at the first 100 stage. Madeira now 0.37 behind, and Leo McCree currently in 3rd place for Switzerland in this heat. There are 11 entrants into those 2 heats, so only a few swimmers to drop. 8 progress to the final places, but in the first heat you haven't got the luxury of going too easily, because those minor positions in the heats can sometimes make the difference between making it in and not, or not, because in a lot of sports you have a situation where it's maybe the fastest 2 qualifiers from each heat might make it into the final guaranteed, but actually in swimming it's the 8 fastest times across however many heats that you have. So you could be in a situation where all 8 swimmers come from the same heat. I mean, in this event we don't have a heat with 8 swimmers in it. So the first 2 athletes to finish in this race, touch the wall first and second in heat 1, are, unless there's any disqualifications, we'll assume that they're not, then they would look to progress safely into the final. And it will be that 3rd position that you want to get a really good time to give yourself the best chance ahead of heat number 2.
Yeah, Granichka going over at halfway, looking like he's trying to ensure his place in that final this evening. Madeira's gone along quite nicely, and Leo McCree, the youngest in the field, 17 years of age, representing Switzerland, is clear in 3rd place at the moment, so that's in a good position to make that final. And Leo McCree was a finalist as well at the World Championship. As I said, the youngest in the field. It's based in the UK, but representing Switzerland, as one of his parents is Swiss. But there's Granichka going over in 3:24. He's opened up a 4-second gap over Madeira. Leo McCree a couple of seconds back, but he's clear in 3rd position. These 3 looking pretty strong. And you can just see the difference that the impairments make on the strokes of each of the swimmers. Quite a relaxed stroke there from Andrei Granichka. Leo McCree, a lot, much more of a turnover, just because of the nature of his impairment, Liz.
Absolutely, Liam McCree, short stature athlete, so he relies on a higher stroke rate to ensure that there's no breakdown in his stroke, and he keeps that momentum and he keeps moving forward. As you can see, Andrei Granichka, no use of his legs, so he's got long, powerful arms, and he employs a longer, stronger stroke. Whereas, again, a different impairment again for Daniel Videra. He has cerebral palsy, he's hemiplegic, so he has one side of his body that's a lot more dominant than the other, so it's a lot harder to maintain the rhythm and pace for Videra. We saw him go out fast. He settled in to hit a good rhythm and pace for him, but if you see the comparison there, Granichka is able to just glide through that water, and we find that a lot in the freestyle distance events. Often, if you've got that dominant pull from two balanced arms, then you're able to settle into a pace, but produce enough power and strength that there's no dip in your stroke in terms of the cycle. But Leo McRae now picked up, he's gone to his feet. You can see he's kicking hard down this 50 metres here, looking to see if he can just get into that second position, test himself ahead of hopefully qualifying for the final tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a close finish here. Liam McCree certainly with a spurt right at the end here. Granichka's going to take this one. He puts a spurt on at the end, increasing the arm stroke there and coming in a comfortable 5:28.81. Videra just had enough to hold off McCree, but that is a comfortable heat win for Andrei Granichka, looking to add to his medal tally this week. 5:28.81 for him. 5:35.16 for Daniel Videra and 5:36.26 for Leo McCree. Igor Luchkin has just finished in 5:50, and the final swimmer to complete the distance will be Leonardo Grenic from Croatia, and he finishes now in 6:10.51. So a comfortable swim there from Granichka, Les, and a good couple of swims behind him, Videra and McCree. I think that should be safe enough for the final, but of course, as you said, going to have to wait for that second heat.
Yeah, great swimming there from the top three athletes. Granichka just looks so comfortable after that 200-metre individual medley last night. Back up early this morning. He'll be looking to just flush away any soreness, any pain from last night, and he didn't show any pain in the closing stages. If anything, as you said, Paul, he just wound it up into that wall.
Yes, arm stroke just increased there, showed his power at the end there. But very close for second position. But it is Granichka who takes that first heat, 5:28.81. Daniel Videra taking second place for the host nation, Portugal, 5:35.16, and Leo McCree in third spot, 5:36.26. So keep an eye on those times, Liz. See who's going to make it through to the final as we go into the second heat. They'll come out now. A couple of big names in this one. As they come onto the poolside there. Here's the Cuban swimmer just going through there. Lorenzo Perez Escalona, who's a Paralympic champion, 100 freestyle. And there is Antonio Fantin, set an incredible world record in the 100 freestyle a couple of days ago. I wonder what he's got in for the 400 freestyle. There's Perez Escalona from Cuba. Two swimmers from out with Europe in this. Here's Salmin Garayev from Kazakhstan and Lorenzo Perez Escalona, the two non-Europeans. Antonio Fantin will go in lane 4. Vyacheslav Lenski from Russia in 5. Ireland's Patrick Flanagan in 6. Radomir Pachak from Slovakia in 7. This is a European Open Championship, of course, so non-Europeans are allowed to compete, but the only medals that are awarded on the podiums are the European medals. We have seen a couple of good swims from non-Europeans, a Brazilian certainly in the S14 class for men. They performed very well, winning open titles. We did see Daliev from Kazakhstan win yesterday as well. The Kazakhstani swimmer in this one, Salim Gerayev, off to a quick start. Perez Escalona right next to him, but Antonio Fantin, well, he hits the front in the early stages. Antonio Fantin, as I said, that world record the other day in the 100 freestyle, but it was really the 400 freestyle where he made his name, Liz, in those world championships in Mexico. He came in as a youngster in Mexico in 2017, and really towards the end of the 400 freestyle final, he was well behind his teammate Bocciardo, but stormed through in the closing stages, and that kind of built his reputation at that point. So this is the event that kind of made him this 400 freestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that very race, we saw just the ability he's got to have such a high turnover of his arms. And we saw that in the 100-meter freestyle. That's ultimately what led him to such a quick time earlier in the week. His stroke rate, the way that he's able to turn his arms at such high pace, really means that he cuts through the water quickly. And as you said, Paul, in that very first 400 metres, we saw him in on a world stage when he ended up being victorious. It did all come down to that ability to just find, he didn't just find one gear, he probably found about 2 gears down that final 50 metres. And I think, but when you're young and you're swimming 400 metres, you're almost a bit cautious in the early stages, because you don't want, in training so many times you've gone hard and then you've, for a term that we use in swimming, blown up, whereas actually it's just all gone wrong and you're too tired and you've gone too early. So I think you're quite cautious, and we saw that from Fantin. But over time, he's really, really built confidence. Still only 19 years old, but he's now got a lot of race experience behind him, a lot of race practice, and results do give you the confidence to try new things. And now we see him now having a more controlled approach to the whole race, and we can see that from the times he's producing. I mean, he's been 4:56 in this 400 metres this year, the only athlete in the S6 field to break that 5-minute barrier. Obviously, the world record is 4:47.75 and has been since October 2009 at the European Championships back in Reykjavik, to the Swedish great Anders Olsen. So S6 athletes have swam under 5 minutes before. They have been fast, but not for a while. And at the moment, this year, Fantin is the only man to have broken that barrier. So, and you can see here, he's looking comfortable again. He has got a slightly higher turnover than we saw from Andrei Granička in the first heat. But again, they've got different body compositions. They've got different strengths, and you can see here, Antonio Fantin, he keeps that momentum going, whereas Granička has got a bit more of a powerful pull, but then he lengthens out more at the front. But Antonio Fantin here looking very, very strong.
Yes, indeed. He's opened up a gap over the second and third place swimmers here. And Perez Escalona, Vyacheslav Lenski, they are pretty close contest there for second. And there's Fantin looking very, very comfortable indeed as he comes down to this 300 mark. Perez Escalona, again, with that very smooth stroke. The Cuban has really emerged as the kind of standard bearer for the Cuban swimmers in recent years, winning medals at the Rio Paralympics and at the London Paralympic Games as well. More renowned as a sprinter. But we saw him swim in the 100 freestyle, Perez Escalona, and his stroke rate doesn't really change very much in that 100 freestyle. Maybe picked up just very slightly, but it's long and smooth and strong, the Cuban swimmer. But that's a great shot for Antonio Fantin. That's almost textbook, with the hands entering in front of the head for Antonio Fantin. He's coming up to the last turn, Liz. This is going to be a comfortable victory for him.
Yeah, it is going to be a comfortable victory. And in comparison to what we saw in the first heat, a lot of these athletes have very similar impairments, similar type of strokes. And as you said, Fantin is very much in the lead, coming into that final turn in 4:41.07. But Perez Escalona going very well, 4:07.02 at the final 100 for him. And Patrick Flanagan of Ireland as well. He turned with 100 to go in 4:18.33. So there's a lot of athletes here vying not only for medals, but vying to better their world rankings ahead of the summer and the Paralympic Games that will happen in Japan. So a lot of athletes with a lot of personal targets, but Antonio Fantine will have his sights firmly set on gold this evening.
Yeah, Antonio Fantine coming in to the finish, and he will finish there in 5:20.10, taking that one comfortably. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a tussle for second position there. Maybe Perez Escalona will take that one. Lenski in third. There's Patrick Flanagan, fourth place in this event in his home European Championships back in Dublin in 2018, and he touches in 5:44.29. The Irish swimmer sneaking in fourth position. Looks like that is probably going to be enough to get him into the final. Yeah, I think so. Should be in around seventh place, I think, Liz, if my calculations are correct. Patrick Flanagan will be back again for that, and Salmin Garayev, that far side, right at the top of the screen for Kazakhstan, and Radomir Pachak putting in a little bit of a spurt at the end, the Slovakian. They finish in 6:20 and 6:22 respectively. It's all fairly comfortable for the main contenders, you would say, Liz. Antonio Fantine. Just
he looked
making sure
about
that
like he was just looked like he was going about his business this morning, didn't he? You have to, obviously, you can say you're the favorite, you can be the favorite on paper, and it can look like it's going to be easy qualification, but ultimately, unless you get through that heat, there is no place in the final. So you do have to come in and apply yourself and get the business done, so to speak. And Antonio Fantine did exactly that this morning.
There's a result of Heat 2. Fantine, Perez Escalona winning a tight tussle there with Vyacheslav Lenski. Those three will progress to the final, as will Patrick Flanagan, I think. And I don't think the other two are going to make it. Salmin Garayev and Pachak. So the top four from each of the two heats, I think, will make it into that final this evening. Antonio Fantine in top position, Granichka in second, Perez Escalona in third spot. So very, very close there in terms of positions from maybe 2 to 6. Antonio Fantine out ahead. I expect a few swimmers will go a little bit faster tonight in the final. As we move on to the next event, which is the men's 100 freestyle S8. 2 lines of the pool again. And again, Liz, in these heats, we've got another returning champion from last night and another returning champion from day one in this very first heat. And there he is, Andrei Nikolaev from Russia, won the 400 freestyle. Full lineup for this one: Vicente Monacidel from Chile goes in lane number 2. And Denis Dubrov going in lane number 3 for Ukraine. Andrei Nikolaev from Russia in lane number 4. The 2 Spanish swimmers in 5 and 6, Inigo Lopez Sanz and Carlos Martinez Fernandez. So Nikolaev, very, very good in the 400 freestyle. Dominant performance from the Russian on day one. Dropping down the distance now. Just 2 lengths for these swimmers, 100 freestyle S8.
Yeah, there's a great reaction time there for Carlos Martinez Fernandez of Spain in the bottom lane. You can see the single arm freestyle of him. Also going well at the top in that white hat is Ukrainian Denis Dubrov, also with that single arm technique. But now we can see Andrei Nikolaev starting to hit the front, that really bright cap of Russia as he comes turn first in a time of 29.11, 29.68 for Denis Dubrov, and it's Ingo Lopez Sanz who's come through 29.83 for third at the turn. But here it is Nikolaev looking very, very strong this morning. We said he's got the endurance in the 400 metres freestyle, and he's looking comfortable in this heat.
Yeah, again, 2 heats of this one, trying to make sure, looks like the top 3 swimmers are well placed to make their way into that final. Nikolaev is going to take this one just over the 1 minute mark, 1 minute point 68. Lopez Sanz in second, and Denis Dubrov in third spot. In fourth place is Martinez Fernandez, and Almonacid Hale from Chile in fifth place. But good swim there from Nikolaev. Good second 50 for him. Lopez Sanz in second, and Denis Dubrov in third. We've spoken about Denis Dubrov before, Liz. He was an S10 Paralympic champion in Rio. He's now moved down to the S8 class and doing pretty well. Bronze medal last night in the butterfly.
Yeah, he's still really, he's moved down, but he's moved down because his impairment has completely changed, because unfortunately he wasn't at World Championships in 2019 because he'd been in a car accident, and that car accident has left him without that use of his right arm. So he's basically, whilst he's got pedigree in the S10 category, he's having to learn to swim and learn to develop strokes all over again, because the biomechanics and the science involved in the way that he now swims is completely different due to the imbalance and the loss of strength that he has. So it's been an interesting journey for him, but as you said, he's doing very well in his return to international waters.
Yeah, Nikolaev, Lopez Sanz, Dubrov, that's the top 3 from that first heat. You would expect that Denis Dubrov, as you said, Liz, just learning his techniques, learning what he has to do with his new impairment, he's only going to get faster, isn't he?
You would expect so, yeah, absolutely. It's like when anyone's learning a new skill or trying something new, you can quickly correct. And obviously he's swimming smart, so he'll be able to take on that feedback very, very quickly. So I would expect him to, as you said, Paul, just keep shaving time off of his new personal best, because that's the other thing, is he's got to start again with in terms of his personal best and his records and his expectations.
Oh, well, there has been a disqualification in that first heat. Confirmation of the result. It was the Chilean swimmer, Almonacid Hale, who was disqualified. There's the lineup for the second heat. Peter Friba from Czech Republic, Mikhail Golas from Poland, Demosthenes Michelintzakis from Greece, returning after his win yesterday, Bogdan Ternenko from Ukraine. There he is, he goes in lane number 5. Alberto Amadeo from Italy, silver medalist last night in the fly behind Michelintzakis and Islam Dokaev. Completes the lineup for Belgium, closest to us.
Well, Michelintzakis has gotten off well for Greece in lane 4. He had a tight battle in the butterfly race to take that victory last night, and these S8 athletes, they were the last event of the program last night, and they're pretty early on this morning, so some of them will just be looking to get back in the water and try and flush out their muscles. And here we can see going very well, it is Michelintzakis. He is the world champion, he is the European champion. 28.39 at the turn for him. Mikhail Golas going very well also for Poland, 29.73 for him. And it's Alberto Amadeo, the Italian breakthrough swimmer, who turned third in 30.01.
Yeah, he's impressed us, Amadeo, over the last few days, and he's coming on strongly as well in the closing stages. He might just take this one from Michelintzakis, finishing strongly, the Italian, and he does take it. 101.67 for Alberto Amadeo. Michelintzakis in second place, and Mikhail Golas in third spot for Poland. Well, good finish there for Amadeo. 101.67. Excellent time for him. Came in on an entry time of 102.64. So he's improved that by almost a second. And the Italians, as we've been saying, have unearthed another star here in Alberto Amadeo. Michelinakis looked comfortable there, took it out strongly. Kind of eased up in the closing stages. 102.35 for the Greek swimmer. Mikhail Golas 103.17. He finished strongly too.
Yeah, it was definitely a race, a tale of two halves. Michelinakis really testing his front end speed down that first 50 metres, but it was Alberto Amadeo that just built down that second half of the race, finishing very strongly, which we've become accustomed to seeing from him, even though it's only day 4 of us witnessing him at these international events.
Yeah, it is indeed. Becoming his trademark, Alberto Amadeo finishing very well, 101.67 to take that second heat ahead of Michelinakis. And the qualifiers for the final, Andrei Nikolaev will be fastest into that final, 1 minute 0.68. Amadeo in second, Michelinakis in third position. Oh, it could be another good one. We saw a good one last night in the butterfly list. Could be another close race in that S800 freestyle.
Yeah, exciting again. Not many heats this morning, but they're already setting us up for some exciting, close battles in those finals later today.
And the men's 50 backstroke S4 coming out onto poolside. Just one heat of this one. 8 swimmers will progress to the final, but we're using all 10 lanes for this heat. So we have swimmers in lane 0 right at the top of your picture as we see it, and in lane 9 right at the bottom. So again, we have some swimmers returning from their heroics yesterday. Roman Zhdanov, excellent swim in the 150 individual medley. There he is, setting a new world record, the Russian. Was right at the start of that Russian gold rush last night. Roman Zhdanov. Xavi Torres there, just sitting on behind the pads there, the experienced Spanish swimmer. His first European Championships back in 1991. Making his comeback at these championships here in Funchal. After being out of the water, I think it was London 2012 was his last event, Xavi Torres. But he's back in again. We've seen him in the heat swims. We saw him in the relay last night. There's the full lineup. Andreas Ernhofer from Austria. Ivan Fernandez of Spain. Ami Omer Dadon. Also a world record breaker in the 100 freestyle. Mats Topkin. Roman Zhdanov. Arnos Petracek. Dimitrovina Radets. Xavi Torres. Ariel Malyar. And Manuel Martinez. That's the full lineup for this 50 backstroke.
Yeah, and there was a range of starts there. We can see in lane 5 is Arnos Petracek, and in lane 3, Mats Topkin getting the better starts, using their advantage off of that wall, because they know that world record holder Roman Zhdanov, who is in fantastic form at this meet, will be chasing them down the pool. And you can see there at the moment it is former world record holder Petracek that's currently in the lead in lane 5. Zhdanov now just overhauling Mats Topkin of Estonia in lane 3, 1 lane up from him. But here it is Petracek that will take out this first heat, 42.63. It's a great time for him this morning.
That's an excellent time for Petracek. 42.63 will take it just a second outside the world record held by Zhdanov. Petracek and Zhdanov, they have competed against each other many times in recent years, and it always goes the same way, doesn't it, Liz? Petracek gets the best start, Zhdanov comes back in the closing stages of the race, and Petracek can see him coming. He knows that he's coming. He's just got to try and stay ahead.
Absolutely, and I think over the years, and that's something that Petracek psychologically has to has to manage, because when you know someone is chasing you down, sometimes you can tighten up, but that's the worst thing that Arnas Petrocek could do. And there we saw he stayed very relaxed this morning. Went a whole second quicker than he's been this year. Cameron Leslie of New Zealand just at the top of the world rankings with a 42.57, but Arnas Petrocek threatening that, and I'm sure that Roman Zdanov has got a bit more speed in him for the final as well.
So there's the result of that heat. Petrocek, Zdanov and Mats Topkin, the top three swimmers there. Bino Radets, Torres, Dadon, Ernhofer and Maljar. They are in the top 8. They should progress to the final. We'll have a list of those finalists. There we go, Petrocek. He looked good though, Liz, Petrocek, didn't he? 42.63. That is an excellent time for him. He's not been much faster than that, maybe half a second or so. He's right, pretty close to his best time ever. But Zdanov, you would expect he would have a little bit more in the tank, the world record holder, and in world record breaking form last night in the individual medley. So Zdanov and Petrocek set to renew their rivalry.
Yep, and again it sets us up for another exciting spectacle of a race, because you will see Petrocek take it out as we've talked about, and then it will just be a question of which comes first, the wall or Zdanov, and it does make some breathtaking view, because Petrocek will be in the lead. That's to be expected, but with every stroke, Roman Zdanov, because of the nature of his impairment, he just builds through and gets stronger and more powerful with every stroke. It's almost like a wind-up. It's like 2 wind-up toys, but one is you're winding up to get quicker, and the other is you've been wound up, and then you're slowing down, and you're in the not the back, the batteries. It's like it's wearing out. So it is like when you were a kid and you put two toys in the water and they worked off different operating systems. But it does make for it's a very good spectacle, and as a spectator, the races don't come more exciting than that.
They don't indeed. It's going to be a fascinating one here. We saw it the other night with the women as well, with Monica Borgioni just taking the S5. She came back in the closing stages as well. We have had some fantastic races this week. We had some fantastic performances, and none less than from the man who's the favourite for this one. Ihar Boki will go in the men's 100 backstroke S13. Line up for this one and only heat is Kilian Portal, Gabriel Steen, Antila Tika, Alex Portal, Ihar Boki, Alexei Verchenko, Krilo Garashenko, and Enrique Jose Alhambra Mola. Well, Ihar Boki, again, we've said it before, Les, he has dominated this event over the past few years. It's probably the first one that he won a European title in back in 2011. He didn't dominate in 2011, but he did win this one, the 100 backstroke. He's won this another 3 times since then, and straight away, Ihar Boki hits the front.
Yeah, and it's become synonymous with his name. We see those great starts and turns that he has, and he almost gets, we call it free speed, because if you get those techniques right, you get those skills, they do some of the swimming for you, and he's turning there 28.20. Alex Portal of France is in great form, but he's 1.4 seconds further back after the 50 metres, and bronze medalist at the World Championship, Verchenko, also swimming very well, but people swim well and they're still not in the same shot as Ihar Boki.
Yeah, and look at this. What a gap for Ihar Boki against the rest of the field. He's coming in now. The world record is 56.68. He's just a second or so outside that one. Alex Portal just gets the touch over Verchenko for second position. And in third place, Verchenko. And in fifth place, Gabriel Steen from Norway. But Ihar Boki, well, puffing out the cheeks a little there. But Ihar Boki, well, another impressive swim. But we're running out of superlatives that we can say about this man, Ihar Boki.
Yeah, I think for him often it's a question of him against the clock, but he's a great role model for the other athletes in this event, in this classification, and he looked really comfortable there again this morning. He broke the world record the first night in the 100-meter butterfly. He just missed the world record yesterday, so we know he's there or thereabouts with his times. And on backstroke, you do use your legs a lot. They are the biggest muscle group, so you're always going to be puffing a little bit, but I'm sure Ihaboki has got more for tonight.
Yeah, 58.02. Let's see if he can just have a crack at his own world record. Alex Portal, as you said, Liz, he's been in great form recently. The French swimmer progressing through the rankings. And he is in second position, just ahead of Verchenko, who was the world bronze medalist. Kirill Garashenko, the silver medalist from yesterday, in fourth position. So again, should be a fascinating battle for the minor medals, you would suggest, in the final tonight, with Ihaboki the clear favourite. You never know. We'll come back tonight for the final. Should be another good one. 200 freestyle for men. Now in the S1 and S2 classifications, a combined event. So again, just one heat for this one. And we have 9 swimmers, so we have to lose just one swimmer. Progress through to the final. A good chance for these swimmers to blow the cobwebs away this morning, Liz.
Yeah, definitely. Again, these are athletes that swam last night. Their event was towards the events were towards the beginning of the program last night, so they're back up already. And there is Alberto Abartha of Chile. See, it is a European Open Championship, so he can compete. But there'll be another set of medals on offer just for the European athletes. And there is Vladimir Delilenko, the Russian athlete, bronze medalist in this event. At the World Championships, Abartha will be the favourite going in that centre lane, but it's a heat, so expect the athletes not to show all their cards this morning.
Yeah, Abartha, top of the world rankings this year. The Chilean swimmer has come through winning medals on the international stage over the last few years. So we have 2 S1s, in fact 3 S1s I think in this event. No, 2 S1s. Have Alexei Talai in lane number 1 and Francisco Botella in lane number 7. The S1 and S2 classes are the most severe impairments in the Paralympic programme. Classes that we see S1 to S10 for physical impairments, S1 being the most impaired, and all these swimmers, Liz, employing very, very similar starting techniques.
Yeah, and as part of the classification process, every single athlete, regardless of their impairment, regardless whether it's functional, visual, or intellectual, goes through a process to determine what exemptions they are allowed. And in the S1 category, one of the exemptions that is permitted is to be held at the feet like that, because the athletes don't have the ability to grip a starting block and a starting device. And so actually it's a safer method to employ is to have them hold, as long as they are touching that time pad, and obviously the assistant does not provide them any propulsion moving forward, then it is a completely legal and permitted technique. And we can see it's employed by everybody in this event, and on backstroke it makes a huge difference to them, because otherwise they would not be able to get away and they would not be able to move down that first length. And then we can see Danilenko got off to a great start, 1 minute 0.68 at the 50-meter mark for him. He is in the lead at this stage. Like you said, this is a heat swim, but at the moment the young Russian going very, very well.
Yeah, and I suppose I remember years back when the S1 and S2 swimmers, they were always kind of got held on the blocks by their coaches, maybe held by the arms, and then one of the swimmers or two of the swimmers, one of the countries just decided, well, can we hold the legs onto the pads? Is that allowed? Well, yeah, you can do that. And now everyone's doing it because it kind of becomes the optimum skill, the optimum way of doing things. You get into your stroke a lot quicker. And it's one of the examples of these techniques that you see at the major championships. And people take that home and kind of try and develop it.
Yeah, and it's optimal at the halfway stage here. Danilenko just still in the lead to a 2 minutes 6.24 for him, but Alberto Abartha has cut that lead and does look to be going very well. They've got very similar strokes, but you're right, Paul. You see athletes, you see someone else with a similar impairment to you, and it might be that you've never been taught or even considered that technique is an option before. Because the one thing about para athletes or anybody who has any difference in the world is that they're not textbook, and therefore the textbook training of coaches and teachers and assistants and everybody else doesn't really consider anyone who differentiates from what is determined to be typical, whether that be in a sporting environment or in the wider world. And so we do need role models that we can look to and try, and people test and people try things. And actually, I think what was determined with that starting technique where athletes were held at the feet was actually, it's a lot safer and a lot more comfortable for athletes in this S1, S2 category to start in that way. And now Abartha has overhauled that early lead of Danilenko, and Abartha turns in that into that final 50 meters in a time of 3:13.23, 3:14.17 for Danilenko. So still close, but as we said, Abartha just looks to be going from strength to strength. In lane 3, it is Bondarenko, Roman Bondarenko of the Ukraine, that looks to be going very well as well. 3:37.30 for him. And Jakubczak, the Polish experienced athlete, out in lane 0, didn't have an entry time, so he might upset the rankings in terms of coming into these into this heat. 3:40.65. He's currently in 4th position, right at the top of the screen in lane 0.
Yeah, and he took a medal last night as well in the 100 backstroke. So I wonder if he can do a similar thing in this 200 freestyle. Well, Abartha is coming home now. He swam a very good last 50 there. It was very close at the last turn. He's ahead of Danilenko. Danilenko winning the European gold in the 100 back yesterday. Very similar impairments from these two. They've competed against each other on the world stage. As you said, both the medalists at the World Championships in 2019. And Alberto Abartha and Vladimir Danilenko having a little chat at the end there. Third spot is Roman Bondarenko's just finished, and Jakubczak is not far behind him, closed up there in the closing stages. Jakubczak finishing in 4:53.55. Just half a second ahead of him was Bondarenko. Pani Bratets from Ukraine in 5th position. Makro Dimitris from Greece, medalist yesterday as well in the 100 backstroke. He is in 6th place. And there is Alexei Talai from Belarus. He's one of the swimmers, Liz. He has a different impairment to almost all of the swimmers in this particular event. It's a freestyle event. Most of these swimmers are swimming on their back, but Alexei Talai has chosen to swim on his front.
Yeah, and we saw Alexei Talai take a medal in the breaststroke earlier this week, and we can see in the freestyle event he kind of employs a breaststroke technique, but then just breathes to that right hand side. And in freestyle, you can use whichever stroke is most efficient and quickest for you. And Alexei Talai essentially doing 200 breaststroke there in 6:02.37. He just got in ahead of Francesco Batella, the other S1 athlete, 6:05.21 for him. And now we see the final athlete in this race, Polish Juliusz Toszomuszek, 6:28.80 for him. So freestyle event means you can do whatever is the quickest stroke for you. And a lot of the time, you can see there from the way that Danilenko is leaving the pool, he's got more rotation backwards through his shoulders, so it makes sense that he's going to be able to move more water. He's got a lot better rotation while he's swimming on his back than if he was on his front, because when you're on your front as well, you have to figure out a way to get your head out of the water to breathe, and a lot of these athletes don't have strength in their upper limbs or indeed their trunk to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, the leading two employing very similar techniques, and they were close in terms of time until Barsad just stretched away in the closing stages. 4:20.27 for the Chilean. Vladimir Danilenko in second place and Roman Bondarenko in third, just ahead of Jacek Czech. As I said, one heat of this one, and the top 8 in that heat will progress to the final. And there are the swimmers in those final places. Francesco Batella and Alexei Talai, the two S1 swimmers. Well, they will make it in to the final this evening alongside the 6 S2 swimmers. So moving on to the next one, and it is the men's 100 back. Pool in this S7 backstroke medalist we've seen already this week.
Yeah, it's a busy program, and like we've said before, we'll see a lot of repeaters in terms of the athletes just coming back, because one, they've got a vast range of the program that they can cover, but also we've talked about it several times in the way that this meet falls in terms of the overall annual program, and the fact that people haven't been able to race in the last almost 18 months, like internationally, means that a lot of these athletes are just using it now to practice racing. Because you can train and you can train as hard as you like, but there is an element of the training that comes from race practice, especially at the moment. Like, it's a completely different world that we're living in. I mean, you can see these athletes now coming out with their masks on. That wasn't a thing the last time that they were at an international major championship. They're being tested, COVID tested every few days. That wasn't a thing the last time that they were at a major championship. So they're having to almost relearn what the race procedure and what a week at competition looks like.
And there's the lineup for the heat, the one and only heat. Nicholas Anderson, Igor Efrosinin, Antti Rada, Evgeny Bodaiko, Andrei Trusov, Mark Malyar, Federico Biccelli, and Sergei Sukarev. Sebastian Hargaard from Sweden in that outside lane. In lane number 8. There is Trusov. What a swim he had in the 400 freestyle. And there's Bodaiko, the winner of the 200 individual medley. A great tussle with Trusov and Mark Malyar in the individual medley. Trusov looked really strong in that 400 freestyle. I wonder who is going to take this 100 backstroke. Bodaiko is the reigning European champion, was the Paralympic champion as well in 2016. Line number 3 from the reigning champ.
Yeah, Bodaiko, he does get a good start off that block. He's got strong legs. He uses them because, again, he has an impairment that affects all four, significantly shorter, so he doesn't have the paddle to get hold of the water, as you'll see from some of the other athletes in the centre lanes. And then you can see he's a quarter of a second ahead of Israel's Mark Malyar, 400-metre freestyle world record holder. So 36.52 took it for Bodaiko at the turn. There you can see that stroke. His left side is dominant, but even on his left hand, he doesn't have a full set of fingers, so he doesn't have the same paddle, as I said, to move the water. So he uses his starts and his turns to his maximum.
Yeah, Mark Malyar coming back very strongly here in the second half of this one. Again, it's going to be comfortable qualification. for the swimmers at the front. Mark Malyar in ahead of Bodaiko. Trusov in third. Sukarev finishing strongly, the Russian, down there in lane number 7. We'll get in for 4th position. Just there, they knew they only had to lose one swimmer. And
yeah, nobody
Malyar
giving much away there. Mark Malyar actually went as quick as he's been all year. In Sheffield, he went a couple of tenths quicker than that 1:14 that he's gone. 8 went 1:14.4 in Sheffield. So Mark Malyar round about the time that he would expect to go, but we saw him in the tank, but so has everybody else, because they're, like you said, Paul, people using that heat pretty comfortably, pretty relaxed. They only had to drop one swimmer to progress into the finals tonight, so conserving as much energy as possible, because there will be a tight race later today.
Yeah, certainly those 3 at the front of the field have, well, they gave us a great race in the 200 metres individual medley. Bocelli also had a great race in the 400 freestyle. They're back in again. Malyar, Bodaiko, Trusov, the top 3. Sukarev in 4th place. Watch out for Bocelli. See if he can go faster in the final. I'm sure he will. And there are the qualifiers for that final. Malyar, Bodaiko and Trusov, the top 3. It's another fast event. Liz, it's the men's 100 freestyle S9. This is quite a packed heat. Packed couple of heats for the men's 100 freestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a packed classification group, I think, is the point. And we talked about it in the S8 men's 100 meters freestyle earlier. They had the 100 meter butterfly last night, and it was a very tight race. And the same could be said for this S9 100 butterfly last night, and I suspect the 100 meter freestyle tonight.
Yes, the swimmers just about to make their way out. We had Simone Barlam take the 100 butterfly title last night. He was a clear winner, but behind him, it was just absolutely a blanket finish, wasn't it? Skaliuk getting the silver medal, Shalkanow, young swimmer from Belarus, getting the bronze, but it could have been anyone from 6 or 7 to get those minor medals.
Yeah, and the same, like I said, the same could be said tonight. I mean, Simone Barlam, that man in your picture there, he will be the favourite. He is the world record holder, and that world record is from this year. So he has moved this event on. He's moved his own times on, but similarly, that blanket finish, it's expected. It's not just a final thing, it's about the heats too. So these athletes can't afford to hang around this morning.
So there we have swimmers for Heat 1, Frederick Solberg, Leo Latinmäki, Simone Cooley, Jose Marie Alcaraz, Simone Barlam, Bogdan Moksavoy, Federico Morlacchi, Ariel Shrink Martinez, Ibrahim Al Hussein. So these are the swimmers for this heat number 1. Simone Barlam, world record holder, set that record earlier this year, 53.41.
Yeah, as you said, Simone Barlam, we know, like we saw in the heats, what he's been doing is he's been coming back so quickly in these closing stages. But he'll know as well that you can't afford to hang around this morning. That, like, there's only 8 spots available in that final, and it is so close. You don't want to be missing out for the touch, and we can see he's making sure that is his plan this morning. He turns in 26.21. Taki up in lane 1. Turning third, 27.38. And it was Frederick Solberg with another great start, 27.13. But now we can see those centre lanes starting to take to the front of the field.
Yeah, it looks like Barlam's got this one under control, but everyone will be vying for position to try and make it into that final. It's going to be very tight indeed. Barlam takes it. It looks like Moscovoy in second place and Shrink Martinez in third. Morlacki in fourth. But, well, my goodness, there was not much in it at all over that one. Marie Alcaraz in fifth position. But there was only 0.1, 0.2 of a second separating the swimmers in, well, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. Simone Cooley in sixth position on 57.88, Liz. Wow.
Well, we said it would be a close finish, and it will be a nervous wait because anything can happen in this second heat, and when times are that close, it really does come down to what position you finish. So you can't rule any of that top five or even top six out of making it into the final. We're just going to have to wait and see how the second heat goes.
Well, Simone Barlam takes it. He should be safe enough into the final. Bogdan Moscovoy has given himself a good chance. But look at that. Shrink Martinez, Morlacki, Marie Alcaraz, Cooley, all on the 57 range. Wow. They're going to be watching this second heat with great interest. Fatih Maki Solberg and Ibrahim Al Hussein, the independent Paralympic participant. He is competing here at these Open Championships again. The second heat, I'll have seen that, Liz. They know what they're going to have to do.
Swim very fast. Yeah, no, it's true. They can't, you cannot, there's no marking, there's no looking around. You're just going to have to put their heads down and go. And like you said, the problem is now the swimmers from Heat 1 will go to the swim down pit and they'll be trying to watch the scoreboard. But because the times are so close, your brain just can't work that fast. And there'll be nobody urging that overall event summary to come up more quickly than the athletes that just swam in that first heat.
Well, they're coming out now. Jonas Kesnar will go in lane 0. Gregor Gregorovic from Poland in 1. Hugo Didier, what a swim he had in the medley. He goes in lane number 2 for France. The local man, Gino Catano from Portugal, goes in 3. There he is. The home favourite, Denis Tarasov. Great Russian champion, multi-medalist in the big events over the past few years. He goes next to his teammate Alexander Skaliuk, who won a medal yesterday from the outside lane. Yao Shalkanow, what a swimmer he was last night. Great swim in the butterfly to win the bronze. And Malte Braunschweig of Germany goes in 7 with Sam de Visser of Belgium in lane number 8. Denis Tarasov in that centre lane. Entry time of 56.34. He's going to have to go pretty close to that to guarantee his place in the final this evening.
Yeah, Germany's Braunschweig got off the block well there in the pink swimsuit down at the bottom of your screen. But there you can see that straight arm technique of Denis Tarasov, the Russian athlete, in lane 4 in the yellow lane lines, going very well. But again, there's not a lot to separate this field.
Tarasov it is who hits the front with Shalkanow. Actually, it's dead level there, 27.48 for Shalkanow in lane number 6. But it is Denis Tarasov in lane number 4 who's leading them home here. But the swimmers down here in 6 and 7, Shalkanow and Malte Braunschweig also in the mix. And also going well, one lane up from Denis Tarasov, Cateno, and Hugo Didier finishing strongly for France. Another close finish, but Tarasov will get it, 56.92 for Denis Tarasov. And it was very, very tight there at the finish. It looks like Hugo Didier might have just clinched his place as well in that final. But we'll have to wait for the results. It's very, very tight, Les. It's too close to call.
Yeah, my eyes are not able to decipher all those hundredths of a second. We said it was going to be close. It was a slightly slower second heat, but it was still just as compact. And that 57 zone is congested. So, but again, we said, Shalanok, the young Belarusian, is really having a race of his life. He's got so much speed and he just comes back so strongly. And he's been there or thereabouts in every event he's swum so far.
Yeah, oh, look at that. Very close indeed. Denis Tarasov should have clinched his place in that final. I think that Schalkenau might have done the same. And Malte Braunschweig as well. We're just waiting for confirmation of these results. They're making us hang on, Liz.
They are. Maybe the system's having trouble as well. It was all too much. Too much
It was.
drama inside this pool this morning.
Technical guys down there in the box. They'll be working furiously now. All eyes on them.
No pressure, guys, but
Denis Tarasov, he's a man who's been around for a while though, Liz, hasn't he? He was dominant in the S8 class. He's moved up to the S9 classification and still really competing well.
yeah, and you can see he's really committed. Like he's obviously targeted these freestyle. We saw him in the butterfly, but he's obviously targeted the freestyle event, honed in his attentions, and he's performing well. And he had a really, really good, strong finish there. In the S9 category, you expect the athletes with the arm impairments to get the better starts, to get the faster first 50s, which is what happened. And then Tarasov turned and just built through that second 50 and prevailed. And you've got to keep your head, you've got to keep calm, and you've got to stick to your race plan, especially when you've seen a first heat, because the athletes will have had one eye on that scoreboard and first heat. You have to. It makes sense to go into your race as informed as possible. So he will have known what he needed to do. And like I said before that second heat started, basically they just needed all to swim as fast as they could, and because there was no room for a margin for error, and we still don't know the result. So
No.
you know, so how we feel stressed. How do those athletes feel? You know, but again, Tarasov with his time, the beauty of finishing first and your time appearing on the board is that then you can place yourself within the rest. And so Denis Tarasov, he might not be having such a nervous wait, nor will Simone Barlam, but the other athletes in that field, well, we'll just have to wait and see. All eyes, literally, look, even the officials' eyes, everyone's eyes are on the scoreboard.
That's it, indeed. I do remember this 100 freestyle for the S9 class the last time it was in Funchal. And there was drama in that one as well, because it was the first Portuguese medal that they had. David Grechat from Portugal winning that medal. And it was one from, and Morlacchi won it from the outside lane. I remember he just scraped in qualification in 8th place and ended up winning it from the outside lane. David Grechat qualified fastest. Actually finished, I think it was 4th or 5th in the race, but there was non-Europeans in it, and he ended up winning a European medal. So there was drama in that one as well the last time they were in Funchal, of a different sort. But drama
the pool
tonight.
did erupt, didn't it? Do you remember the pool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Erupted when he got that bronze medal. Oh, are we getting a result?
Here we go. Yes, Tarasov takes it. Schalkenau 57.37 might just be enough. Malte Braunschweig, I think that might be enough for him as well to make the final. 57.60. Hugo Didier, the champion in the 200 medley, might just have made his way into the final as well, I think, in 8th position. 57.71 for Hugo Didier. And I think he might well have knocked the former champion out of that final. There we go. Simone Barlam, 56.02. He will lead them in. Denis Tarasov in second place, the two winners of those heats. And look at that. All in the 57 range. 57.71 for Hugo Didier. He did make it. And Jose Antonio Marie Alcaraz loses out by 8/100ths of a second, the Spanish swimmer.
Well, those athletes are going to need nerves of steel in that call room tonight, and when they come and stand behind that block, it could go anywhere. I mean, like you said, there's likely to be a battle in the centre lanes, but then who knows where else the drama can come from.
Absolutely. Here we go now for the women's 100 freestyle S9. I wonder if we're in for similar drama here. It's 2 heats of this one, 6 swimmers at each of the heats. Julia Gordachuk from Israel going in lane number 2. Lena Vats from Sweden in 3. Mariah Marcus Soto from Spain. She goes in lane 4. Great Britain Stephanie Millward goes in 5. Efima Gikuli from Greece in 6. And Paula Novina in 7 from Croatia. Stephanie Millward making her first appearance of the week. She is the former champion. Back in 2014 she took this title. Mariah Marquez Soto also had some good swims this week. The Spanish swimmer alongside her in lane number 4. They will probably start as the favourites for this one. And Lena Vats going well in the early stages, that yellow cap of Sweden.
Yeah, it's a pretty even start there, but now we can see it is Mariah Marcus Soto, the Spanish athlete in lane 4, who's coming into the 50 metre, leading that spearhead that we see in the swimming pool. 31.45 for her. Lena Vats just under a second behind, and then Stephanie Millward turning in 3rd position. But also going very well is Julia Gordachuk, the Israeli athlete, in the top of the picture. She's looking to come up onto the shoulder of Lena Vats, and Stephanie Millward now starting to try to break through, but Mariah Marcus Soto in a commanding lead in this first heat.
Yeah, she looks good there. It's going to be close for 2nd position. Maybe Julia Gordachuk might just take this one. Yeah, she does. 1.56 seconds behind Mariah Marquez Soto at 106 for Marquez Soto to take that one. Gordachuk in 108.22, Lena Vats in 108.34, and Stephanie Millward 108.59 in 4th position. So, well, Stephanie Millward's going to have a close eye on that 2nd heat to see if she'll progress to the final. But all smiles for Mariah Marquez Soto.
Yeah, Mariah Marcus Soto, she's a really accomplished athlete. Another athlete with such a great range of strokes. She's renowned as a backstroker when she first came through, but actually she's the Paralympic champion in the 400 metre freestyle. And so she's got good range, and then she looked very comfortable this morning, but she knows that her compatriot Soraya Gascon in the 2nd heat has also got a lot of firepower in this event.
Yeah, almost a blanket finish for 2nd, 3rd and 4th there. No doubt about the winner, Mariah Marquez Soto, 106.66 with 1 heat to come. Soraya Gascon does go in that 2nd heat. And Gascon again, multiple European champion in this event. She won the last time here in Funchal in 2016. She won in Dublin the last European Championships in 2018, and she also won back in 2011, Liz, in Berlin.
Well, Soraya Gascon, that Berlin European Championships in 2011, Soraya Gascon was really like one of her best ever championships, wasn't it? She had the form of her life back then, and she's just gone from strength to strength since as well. Paralympic silver medalist in this event. She's always so close to that gold medal rostrum at the Paralympic Games. In a few events, 100 metre butterfly, 100 metre freestyle, 50 freestyle. She'd be the world record holder in the 50 freestyle in the past. She's, again, another athlete with just such pedigree across such a wide range of events.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time, Soraya Gascon. It seems like she's probably been around for about maybe 14 or 15 years now. She's only just 28. She started really young, but she's still very, very competitive, as we've seen this week. And there is Claire Supio from France. Zuzanna Boraszewska from Poland goes in lane number 2. Claire Supio in 3. Sarai Gascon in 4. Susana Veiga from Portugal. Big hope for Portuguese medal in this event. She goes in 5. Katie Payer goes in 6 for Hungary. And Vittoria Bianco from Italy. He goes in lane number 7.
Well, Sarai Gascon will look to get away well. Again, these athletes will have had the luxury of seeing what the first heat did, but in saying that, there was that blanket finish, so you don't want to take it too steadily. And the home favourite Portuguese is Susana Veiga, going very well down this first 50 metres. She's just in that white hat, 1 lane closer to us, currently leading from Spain's Sarai Gascon. And then Claire Supio of France will be turning 3rd. 30.92 for Susana Veiga at the turn.
Yeah, she is renowned as a 50 specialist. She's won the medals at the European Championships and at the World Championships over 50. But it's a big chance for her over the 100 distance as well. Sarai Gascon and Susana Veiga just side by side there. Claire Supio also going well for France. These top 3 are away, and Vittoria Bianco going well for Italy down there in lane number 7. It's going to be touching together, Susana Veiga and Sarai Gascon. 7/100 separating them, 105.14 and 105.21. They will be the fastest 2 times into the final this evening. That was a good tussle between those two. In 3rd place, Claire Supio, 106.24. I think that's the fastest 3 times actually from that second heat. And Vittoria Bianco, she should secure herself a place in the final. 107.41 for the Italian. Another Italian that we haven't really seen before, Liz, making their way into a final.
Yeah, we keep seeing that, don't we? The Italians popping up, new Italians. We said wave of experience, and it just becomes the momentum carries through the country. And like I said, we've said it before earlier in the week, but people see people like them doing something that they haven't considered, and they're like, actually, that might be for me. And it's working for the Italians. The team just grows and grows, but they don't just grow; they have real quality. But this race is another one shaping up to be a close battle at both at the front, but then behind as well, because there's 106s, 107s, and then those 3 108s look like they might have made it through the final, so there won't be a lot in it come tonight's final session.
Yeah, I think so. Susana Veiga taking that one, the home swimmer, in 105.14 ahead of Sarai Gascon and Claire Supio, with Vittoria Bianco in 4th place. Those 4, I think, should make it through to the final, and 4 from the first heat as well. Susana Veiga will lead the way, and the 3 swimmers who swam in the 108 range from that first heat will also make it. Gordichuk, Butts and Millward. And that, Liz, is us for this morning. Just like that.
Well, it was quick, wasn't it? It was a quick one, but a good one.
It was indeed. And some close races there in prospect for the final. Of course, tonight when we come back, we'll have 20 titles that will be decided on this day 4 of these championships. That's us at the halfway stage now. We're in day 4, midpoint, and looking forward to another great session tonight. So Liz and I will be back local time, 5:30 in the evening in Madeira. So please join us then. It's going to be a very exciting night, so don't miss it. See you tonight.